Happy Friday, and thanks for joining us on To The Point with Alex Bell. I'm Becca Habiger in for Alex. Now, I'm happy to say we have a lot of positive news for you tonight. Now, we know the past few years have not been the easiest, especially for older adults in the Asian American and Pacific Islander community. COVID restriction led to isolation, loneliness, and depression. Hate crimes are also on the rise. But in tonight's Main Point, we're showcasing a Sacramento group that's creating a community for those who might not otherwise have one.
I love dancing. You should lock yourself in. I'm 94, and most of my friends are gone. And some of them can't even get out of bed. And they lock themselves in. Too bad, because this is a wonderful outreach. I met a lot of new friends, and the instructors are wonderful.
Punch forward.
I've been taking a lot of classes, cooking and dance.
A lot of seniors might feel anxious being out for a variety of reasons, but it really was heightened during the pandemic. Being isolated in your own home without the ability to make connections with other people, to have meaningful interactions, that really takes a toll on people's mental and physical health. Many of our services really focus on helping seniors be healthy and active and socially engaged so that they can continue to live independently for as long as they want to. We have a RIDE transportation program, door-through-door transportation for seniors so that they can get out and do things like go to the doctor's office. The Senior Escort program matches trained volunteers with seniors who may not feel comfortable or safe being out in the community by themselves. And they go for walks just so that they can get out and be out in their community. Our Senior Escort program was really a grassroots effort as a response to the rise in anti-Asian hate incidences that occurred during the pandemic.
Violent night across the area.
Stop Asian hate!
We need to speak for those that are weak, that can't stand up. Speak for those that can't speak English.
We really wanted to take a preventative approach to stopping the hate. There were a lot of incidences that were really targeted at seniors and especially women who were alone. We know that these can be challenging times, but we think that if people come out and just have some meaningful interactions with other people and start building relationships again, we can all be a lot more resilient and we can live our best lives. Even for those people who have family, oftentimes they need to know that there are others in the community that can support them.
I don't drive anymore because I got macular degeneration. So I use the ACC transportation program, and I love all the drivers. It made me happy. I don't have to depend on my family to take me places. I can call each and every one friend, and they can give me a ride if I need a ride. I really think this is my second home. I'm very independent. You can see that.
We do depend a lot on volunteers, and we're always looking for more volunteers.
I enjoy being with the people. I think I get as much out of it. So when I leave, I'm happy. It kind of makes my day. It's for the social and the mental health, just the interaction. As the staff here, they're very dedicated, they're caring, they really believe in the goals of making it safe and providing both a social and a mental safe place for the people.
I became real good friends with lots of people. I enjoy talking to them. It's wonderful. The classes are wonderful. The people are gracious. And if you don't know how to play mahjong, we will show you how.
Well, if you'd like to volunteer with ACC Senior Services, we've got everything you need to know on abc10.com/tothepoint. Just look for the links mentioned page. Now, studies show that older people who are socially isolated face a greater chance of developing dementia. That's a neurological condition scientists continue to dig deeper into. And just yesterday, the world learned that 67-year-old actor Bruce Willis was diagnosed with something called frontotemporal dementia. His family calls it a cruel disease that many of us have never heard of. So we asked an expert to explain the difference between that and some more familiar conditions like Alzheimer's disease and just dementia in general.
Dementia is essentially decline in thinking or cognition that also impairs your daily activities. And there can be many causes of dementia, but Alzheimer's is the most common cause of dementia. There are other degenerative diseases with other types of inclusions or nerve cell loss that can cause dementia, like Lewy body dementia or frontotemporal dementia.
Now, we spoke with that doctor for a story we're working on about a new Alzheimer's disease drug called Leqembi. It's designed to target Alzheimer's in the early stages and slow its progress. We'll have that story next week right here on To The Point. And you can keep up with that story and everything else we're working on by joining our new To The Point text group. Just scan the QR code on your screen using the camera app on your smartphone. It'll generate a text for you, and all you have to do is hit send. We'll keep you in the loop on upcoming stories. You can also text story ideas to us. Stockton now has its own superhero. When we come back, you'll meet the artist going viral for his unique characters with local ties. Sacramento Black-owned comic book shop Impound Comics opened during the pandemic back in 2020. That's something the owner says actually worked to his advantage since people were inside reading more, and the momentum hasn't stopped. A TikTok promoting his new Stockton-based superhero called Blasted has gotten millions of views. Photojournalist Xavier Uriarte shares the story of the man behind the ink.
So we launched in the middle of COVID. Up was the only option for us. I would definitely say at that time there was more people on the internet than ever before. So our launch to the world was big in the sense of a new business. People were just trying to see what we were doing. They just had time to give to us. This is my comic book character, Blasted, the god of tattoos. The character, his name is Giovanni Grimes. With that being said, rest in peace to two of my friends who he's named after, Giovanni Pisano and Greg Grimes. He is now officially Stockton's first superhero. His heroic name is Blasted, the god of tattoos. In Mayan culture, there was actually a god of tattoos named Akat. So he is the son of that deity. His abilities are called melanokinesis, ink manipulation, and he can physically pull weapons and items off of his body and use them in combat. Going into it, I spent about a year designing this character, and I knew from the gate that it was going to be I always called him our universe's Spider-Man. And I knew that before I even talked about him, before I ever posted him. And then I finally did a video just teasing him, and it's now up to about 3.2 million views. Every book that's out, at a point it was on pre-order. It outsold all of those pre-orders put together. This book has done more in a week than they did in the lifetime of our company. It's a great feeling to have something that's not even real come out of your brain. You spend time designing it, and to get an instant response from the world, millions of people, that's what I'm doing it for. Black History Month is incredibly important for me. We're a part of adding to that. So that's who we are. That's what gave us the opportunity to be able to be in this position, was honoring the people that came before. And I'm hoping at some point that what we do can be honored in a regard like that. I didn't realize that was a part of my mission when I was doing it. I was kind of just nerding out and doing what I wanted to do. And I think I became more conscious of it from other people telling me how important what we're doing is. Not only just to the comic book community, but just to all communities, you know what I mean? The African American community, showing people there's another way to be successful, especially for minorities.
We're taking the back roads to this park that helped save American bison from extinction. That's after the break. In an upcoming exclusive interview, our Chris Thomas is talking to the first African-American director of the California Department of Finance. He is opening up about a challenging start in the new position, from a multi-billion-dollar state budget shortfall to a disruptive cyber attack that he's now speaking about for the first time. Here's a look at what to expect.
All eyes are often on the nation's most populous state, and that includes bad actors looking to make a quick buck. After all, California has the fourth largest economy in the world, and the state's newly sworn-in finance director had his hands full when the department was hit by the unthinkable, a cyber attack.
We had folks who worked nonstop, who spent nights to get things corrected.
And so we're sitting down with Joe Steffenshaw for his first public comments on overcoming adversity and making history. You've certainly had to hit the ground running, from a multi-billion-dollar budget shortfall to tackling a disruptive hack. Talk about how you were able to maneuver through all of this.
Yeah, you know, I definitely came in at an interesting time after a couple years of unprecedented surpluses. And facing the shortfall is definitely probably not something that one would wish for entering this position. And as we were building the budget, we did have a IT security incident at the beginning of December. This department really is a shining star in my eyes of state government, and the department really rallied together.
Talk about how challenging that process was. I've heard some people had to abandon their computers and use pen and paper to get work done. Yes, you'll hear his response to that and much more. We are just getting started. Watch the full exclusive conversation Monday night at 6:30, only here on ABC 10.
And here are some other stories people are talking about today. The 5 police officers charged with killing Sacramento native Tyree Nichols have pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder and other charges. All 5 officers were fired after Nichols was arrested and beaten on January 7th. He died in the hospital 3 days later. Former, or possibly still current, Lodi City Council member Shakir Khan was formally charged in court today with a plethora of felony election crimes. Khan will be released from jail, but his council status is up for debate as the mayor says he got Khan's resignation letter, but Khan's lawyer says the way the mayor went about getting it is illegal. And California Assemblymember Kevin McCarty has introduced a bill that, if passed, would require kids to be at least 12 years old to play tackle football. A CDC study found that youth tackle athletes ages 6 to 14 have 15 times more head impacts than those who play flag football. Well, it's time to hit the back roads. The American bison used to roam freely around the United States by the millions. Well, that number has dwindled severely over the years, but this week John Bartel is taking us to a park in San Francisco that saved them from extinction altogether.
At first glance, San Francisco's Golden Gate Park looks like any other park. It's got trees, lots of grass, and walking paths. But there's one area of the park that gets a lot of looks.
I see the bisons first time in my life.
Yeah, he said bison. Nick Fedova is like many first-time tourists who are a little surprised and confused when they see giant animals roaming the park.
I suppose it could be. I mean, we see tourists pretty much every day. You know, we meet people from all over the world out here that come just to see the bison.
Amy Phelps is one of the many caretakers at what is known as the Bison Paddock, and when I visited, it was lunchtime, and on the menu was an appetizer of grain and the main course, Christmas trees.
Bison normally eat Christmas trees?
They can. They eat a variety of wooded plants and mostly grass. They're mainly grazers.
Amy put me to work garnishing the Christmas trees with lettuce and carrots.
Bison food.
All right, girls, let's go.
Although the bison are cared for by the staff at the San Francisco Zoo, they've never really been part of the zoo. The Bison Paddock is actually a part of a centuries-old conservation project.
Bison in general are absolutely a conservation story. I mean, they were literally hunted almost to extinction.
The American bison, 250 years ago, almost 60 million of them roamed the North American continent.
Hollywood has taught us to call them buffalo, but their true name is the American bison. And during the colonization of the West, pioneers and the U.S. Army slaughtered millions of bison.
In part for hide and meat, and in part as part of the really awful things that were done to Native Americans.
As a part of the American Indian Wars, the U.S. government encouraged people to kill bison to reduce food for the Native Americans. By 1889, the species nearly went extinct, with a population of less than 1,000 bison.
1891, the old park superintendent, McLaren, brought in 1 male and 1 female.
In an effort to save the American bison, Park Superintendent John McLaren started a breeding program. Over the years, more than 500 calves were born, and literally, it saved the species from extinction.
They've come a long way, but the only free-roaming bison now exist in conservation areas where they're protected.
Though they're fed by humans, the Golden Gate bison are very much wild, and if you're wondering, yes, they have escaped a few times. One notable escape happened in 1899 and involved a bull bison trampling a park ranger and goring and killing his horse. The other major escape was in 1942 when bison ran through the streets, and the last reported escape was in 1995. But since then, the fencing has been updated.
And there's multiple layers of fencing, so even if a tree fell and took out 1 layer of fencing, it certainly wouldn't free a bison. They'd have to get past many too.
From the Bison Paddock in San Francisco, I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back roads.
We learn something every Friday. Well, you can find all of John's adventures on abc10.com/backroads or text the word backroads to 916-321-3310 for a map to plan your next road trip adventure. And if you are looking to hit the backroads this weekend, you'll have fewer fees. New Melones, Lake Berryessa, and Stony Gorge reservoirs are waiving day-use fees on Monday for President's Day. A disclaimer, you will still have to pay for things like camping and boat launching. And Monica, here in Sacramento, we've got the Mardi Gras celebration at the Capitol and in Old Sacramento. What kind of weather can we see here?
Gorgeous. Unusually warm temperatures expected for the afternoons. It will still be chilly out there for the mornings, but take a look. This was just a taste of what's to come. Those afternoon highs for this Friday. Low to mid 60s from the coast through the valley, 50s for the foothills, and near 40 up top for the Sierra. So some beautiful weather all throughout Northern California will continue in the forecast. Although those morning lows, like I said, in the 30s, that's going to be a crisp start to our Saturday, right around 5 to 15 degrees in the high country. I'll look at that weekend forecast, though. You can see how things will be warming throughout the valley into the mid to upper 60s, and region wide, we're going to keep it very mild for the mountains, the hills, as well as the coast through the holiday weekend. Then those big changes arrive. We get that big blast of Arctic air, much colder, low elevation snow, although the details a bit uncertain, but you can see the projected forecast for total snow accumulation, 18 to 30 inches of snow. Not quite as good of a rain producer, only about 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch down low, about 1 inch to 2 inches, though, for the foothills. Warmer weather on tap through that holiday weekend. Here comes the rain and snow blasting through by Tuesday into Wednesday and Thursday as well. That will continue Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of next weekend. But I'll tell you what, Becca, good timing on this for this holiday weekend, mild and sunny.
Oh, that's for sure. Thanks, Monica. Well, the weather is beautiful now, but the year certainly didn't start that way. Thankfully, the rain let up, but what if it didn't stop? Find out the answer in our special report, Mega Flood, California's Disaster in Waiting, tomorrow night at 10:30, right here on ABC 10. We'll be right back. Sacramento is calling on all artists to design a new sculpture on the Sacramento River, one of many improvements coming to Robert T. Matsui Park. That includes a new cherry blossom grove along the river.
This is a 1.5 acre kind of property that'll have just a ton of these cherry trees that kind of point towards Hanami, Japan. And it's this kind of sister city link between the two areas.
The new art installation will be at least 20 feet tall and be related in some way to trees. Now, in order for artists to be eligible, they have to have prior experience with proven examples. A review panel will pick the winner. Applications close March 6th. So what's going on in your community? Let me know. I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Becca Reports. You can also shoot the team an email, tothepoint@abc10.com. We love getting those emails from you and hearing from you, and we hope you have a fantastic weekend and enjoy this weather. Good night.
Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at Alex Bell TV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.